It's getting spicy. Situation between the religion business docuseries and Russ B. Johnson is getting spicy.
Goodness gracious.
Okay, if you guys didn't know, religion business Instagram called out Russ B. Johnson because Russ was wearing his rollie in a message. I think the clip was about tithe. And they've been going back and forth about debating the tithe. Made some progress, I think. But this is the official clap back, and then I'm going to give you guys an update on where the potential debate. So if you guys don't know, religion business series on the business of religion, and Russ B. Johnson, pastor of Pursuit Church out of the Pacific Northwest. Russ is a wild man. Yeah. He's a firecracker. Okay, he has a background in politics, and he goes from 0 to 100 really quick. Okay, not always the most pastoral thing to do, but he turns up really quick. And I understand, because I feel like Pacific Northwest, probably a lot of, Antifa folks showing up to his church, all kinds of weird stuff. So this is the response after Russ B. Johnson called out Nathan from the religion business about his film that was not the most appropriate. And this is Nathan's response. And then Russ responded to this, and then I'll give you guys an update. We're trying to get the debate going.
Okay.
All right? Check this out.
Everybody, so it seems we've struck a nerve leading up to the launch of the religion business on July 10th. This video today is to address 3 things. Number 1, tithing. Russell, Ruslan, Mike Todd.
So I don't know if he was saying my name there.
He was definitely saying your name.
Ruslan?
Yeah, it's Ruslan.
It's Ruslan. We got a whole drop for you.
Ruslan.
It's just for you, Nathan. I don't know why I got Ruslan and Mike Todd. Like,
that's crazy.
Why am I next to Mike Todd? Anyway, I'm gonna chalk it up.
Stephen Furtick, Taryn Wells, every single pastor that asks their congregation for a 10% tithe.
Hold on, I've never asked. First of all, I don't have a congregation. Second of all, I have never asked.
This is your homeboy that you talked to on the phone?
Yeah, I don't know why I'm in this video. I think he didn't like that I just did my video and told him exactly where I was, even though I saw him on that phone. So I don't know how I'm lumped into this.
Okay.
I've never asked for a 10% tithe. I've never asked for people to tithe to what we do here.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done a tithing message.
Yeah.
I adhere to the principle of living on 10, on 80, giving 10, and saving 10. I think it's a good principle. I don't think that's a law.
Yeah.
Right. And we covered that in the previous video. So anyway, interesting that he said I almost was like, he can't be saying. I guess he is saying my name. All right, go ahead.
Russell's first point for tithing is it provides for God's house. So my simple question is, what is God's house?
So he's going straight to the debate, which Russ is willing to have with him about the tithe. Now, I could steel man the debate either way about the tithe. I think there's a deeper conversation that needs to happen here. No, I don't have a church. I volunteer at a church. I speak at our young adults group. I don't have a church. I don't want to have a church. I don't want to plan a church. I don't want to lead a church.
Come on, man.
Because I don't want to be called out for wearing a $1,000 Apple Watch someday if I decide to upgrade to the elite and someone's like, look at Ruslan wearing a $1,000 watch, right? No, I'm joking. So, or to be conflated with Mike Todd, like this is, Anyway,
none of them will be able to answer it biblically, because as soon as they do, the power behind their cultural institution evaporates. Russell made it a point to say, what godly men.
So I would love to see this debate, because I think he's making such statements with such certainty.
It really is.
And by the way, there's not a debate on the tithe. Like I couldn't find a debate on the tithe. I think it's an in-house issue.
Yeah.
I think it's a good issue to debate. The certainty in which he speaks, I think you could slice it either way.
Yeah.
Again, in the sense of encouraging people to give 10%, I don't think it's the same as like the Old Testament law. Now there are some people that are like, Malachi, if you don't give, you're cursed. That's wild. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
But I think you can make a case for why people should be radically generous in their personal finances.
Come on.
This man raised with. The first, my junior high pastor, he was being groomed to take over the megachurch that I grew up in. Unfortunately, he is in jail for 14 counts of against a minor. One of the founding members
has nothing to do with tithe.
I don't know what this has to do
of this megachurch, which started in a strip mall, was the most loving, kind, gentle man I have ever met. He was a true shepherd. He was at the hospital constantly with the sick and dying. He would go on the Marine base and pray with the Marines. He would pray with anyone at any time who needed it. He would give you the biggest bear hugs. He was an absolute legend.
He's from Carlsbad, so I wonder if he's talking about a church locally or somewhere else. Now I'm intrigued.
Wasn't there that one pastor?
Yeah, there was a situation that happened.
It's got to be him.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
He sadly died out of the blue.
Oh.
And very quickly, the church kind of forgot about all of his decades of effort to grow that church and kind of left his family out to dry. When I bought the religionbusiness.com over 15 years ago, there was only one person that would really have a conversation with me, and he was a full-time pastor. A few years later, he ended up leaving the church, starting a home church, and getting a full-time job outside because he said the message from the pulpit ran in contradiction to the business practices of the institution.
So I think this is all fine, but these are all like
Antidotes.
these are anecdotes. These are anecdotal examples.
Yeah.
Nathan, you have way better arguments than this. Like your argument of the amount of money, which we had to correct in a previous video, $53 billion a year wasted,
Yeah.
much better argument than like some guy who didn't feel conflicted about like, not every church is like this.
Yeah.
You know,
Others leave the system eventually because it eats them from the inside out. There's an amazing scholar in the show, and he goes, most Christians have faith in their faith in God because having faith in God is actually quite dangerous, and it demands things of you that are very uncomfortable. So here's a call right now. It's time for the real authentic shepherds to step up and take their rightful place and get the wolves out of the pasture. I made trash TV in my 20s. I never denied it. I've actually talked about it on a lot of podcasts, and I met amazing
Pause it.
people.
the issue with making trash TV is like, Nathan, if Nicki Minaj became a Christian, there would be things that she would have to renounce. Like Paul becoming a Christian, there are things that he had to renounce about his past life.
Yeah.
So just saying like, I made trash TV and just brushing over it. I asked someone on the phone, have you ever renounced this? Have you ever repented of the stuff you made with scenes in it? Right.
Yeah.
That's the issue is, you don't just get to like, you know,
No, it's just bad.
it's just bad. No, I think like on this side of it, you might want to say, hey, this wasn't good. This was bad. This was harmful to people that I made these sorts of raunchy comedies. In the same way I would expect any person that shelved out sensual, sexual media, whether rappers, artists, filmmakers, to be like, yeah, I'm not that person anymore. I don't know if Nathan has done that. I hope he does that.
Yeah.
But when I asked him, have you renounced the stuff that you made, this film that you made that Russ B. Johnson pointed out, he didn't really, just kind of waved it away, which I thought was weird.
On that journey. And ironically, on these trash reality shows, we had great conversations about faith and the need for faith.
That's irrelevant. That's pragmaticism.
And that doesn't stick around for the next 10 years like your film did.
Right. Just because
Yeah.
you had cool conversations about God with ungodly people who did ungodly work, or maybe some of them were godly, that's not something that is like, oh, cool, so now the ends justify the means. We made trash television and we made slop, but like, man, did we have some insightful conversations on the set.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And Russell has forgotten one slide so far. I also camera operated on Temptation Island. Russell, I'm glad you drive a Tesla, man. And I hope you get that Cybertruck that you want, as long as your congregation knows if the church is giving you a car allowance for it, or a clothing allowance for your nice setups that you wear on stage, or if they know that the Pursuit Corporation spent $2.3 million in November of 2022 to buy you a parsonage. Let me say that once more.
So he thinks he has him caught red-handed
Yeah.
here. Now, Russ responds to all of this.
Okay.
So you guys are going to want to wait for his response.
Goodness
Okay,
gracious.
go ahead.
The Pursuit Corporation, a business entity, purchased a $2.3 million home for Russell in 2022. I could care less about the valuation of the home as long as the congregation who you are asking to give you 10% of their money knows that the corporation, a business, is buying it. That's why the name of the show is The Religion Business.
Check out Russ's response to this.
Said incorrect on all accounts.
No car allowance, no clothing allowance.
Okay.
And because you have trouble reading publicly available property records, also incorrect on the church buying me a house. Pursuit is on the title because I purchased a home without church funds and then gave my home to the church so the church could own it and use it as positive leverage, assets versus liabilities, for the purpose of borrowing money to purchase our next campus.
So he put his home up as a liability for the church
Yes.
to use so they could buy a campus.
Yes. What you're criticizing was a multi-million-dollar gift I made to the church that I've never publicly talked about until now.
Hello.
And then he said, stick to making gay smut films. This ain't it. This is where I think Russ goes too far. It's like he could have just dropped that and just kept it pushing, but he had to slide in the stick to making, gay smut films. And then, like, of course, in the comments, and this is what I pointed out to Nate, is like, bro, you are creating a culture where Russ is a villain. And Russ is not a villain. He's not the guy that you want to go after.
Well, this is an interesting development.
Yeah, this is an interesting development. That's what I said. So then it was like, okay, so we look at that and we go, oh, that's interesting. He gave the house to the church so the church can use it as positive leverage.
Yeah.
Nate's perspective goes, oh, it's because he wanted to save money on taxes. This becomes an appeal to motive fallacy each ways.
Yeah.
Each side is pointing to the other side as you're a crook because you just want to save money on taxes. And the other side is saying, well, you're just a smut filmmaker that's not a Christian that just wants to go after and get yourself involved in business that's none of your concern.
Do you think these guys are ever sitting down for a debate on the tithe?
So, right?
Come on, son.
So to me, when I go, oh, if he did that and that helps the church and he saved property taxes,
yeah,
that sounds like a win-win. Churches have bought people parsonages all the time. Now, I think there's something wild when a guy like Sean Foyt, or whatever his name is, owns 10 properties.
Come on.
You know what I mean? With one that's within a couple miles of each other. I think that is wild, but I think to then make each other out to be these villains, I don't think is helpful. And maybe I'm just too charitable to folks. So where we are right now is there is a option for them to debate. I offered to moderate. Okay. Being fully transparent with Nathan that I slightly lean to Russ's side, though I understand some of your concerns. And I understand that there is legitimate concerns about the evangelical machine and how they do or don't handle finances. Fair critiques. And I said, hey, I can moderate it. He's not going to go on a secular podcast to do this. That was Sean Kelly was the idea that they threw out.
Okay.
Russ is not going to do that. So where we are right now is Nate, Russ is willing to debate. He'll debate you on anything. I will moderate it, and you can pick a moderator of your choice. So I suggested Jeff from Church Disrupted. He suggested Sean. I don't know if that's Sean McDowell or which Sean. And that is where we are. I think we should have this debate. I think it will lead to clarity on the position. There's not a good debate on the tithe out there. So like let them go at it, and then let's peel away at the layers of how this stuff is set up and the fact that some of the stuff that Nate is asking for, I think is an overcorrection, but I also think there's some valid concerns. I want to hear from Russ. How do we address it? How do we address these concerns? Yeah. You can't front and act like there isn't waste that happens in church.
So is Nate a home church guy?
We don't know Nate's church right now. Like that's another issue. Is like, are you actually plugged into a local church? Yeah. I want to know. So I don't remember what his answer was. I think he kind of goes to church. I think he kind of goes to some home churches. I'm not quite sure. So I think like dumping all these presuppositions into this conversation based on your own theological bent and then reverse engineering a movie based on your conclusions. I don't think that's investigative journalism. I don't know if that's what Nate did. Yeah. Right? I don't know if that's what Nate did. And so I think they're both a villain to each other, and we're trying to figure out if we can get a second moderator. I would love to do it. It could be remote. We could have clocks. We could make it as formal as we want to make it. And I hope that that this gets sorted out. I hope that they debate and have this conversation.
Okay.
So anyway, Nate, Russ is willing to debate. Russ is ready. We just need to find another moderator. By the way, I don't need to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I really don't. I got a lot going on. I got a whole lot going on.
Yeah.
Nate's about to drop this movie. I think it'll be good, and I think we should have these conversations publicly. I think it'll be good. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you liked it, then hit the like button. If you liked it a lot and have a thought to share, leave a comment. If you are listening to this on the podcast app, make sure to leave a review, and you could even leave a comment over there. And if you want to watch another video that is recommended just for you, hit this video over here. Let me know if they nailed it. Also, you can partner with us monthly, which helps us out a lot in our monthly community. Get access to early drops and all that kind of good stuff over here. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.